I'm Two Flying Nuns. Today I'm going to be breaking down how I get hundreds of thousands of iron skin on Rhino. I'm going to show you the playstyle that allows that, and the easier and more difficult / powerful versions of this build. The first thing you need to do, besides have energy, is to activate his first ability charge. Just go head first into a group of enemies. The distance traveled here is affected by range mods, and when Rhino charges, he does create a concussive wave like a bullet. The radius of that wave is also affected by range mods. The idea is to hit as many enemies as possible because of this mod. Each enemy hit increases Rhino's armor by 50% for 10 seconds. The increase in the armor is affected by strength mods, and the time it's active is affected by duration mods. Once seeing your buff appear, this is when you activate your second ability, Iron Skin. Though because I have negative duration on this build, we won't get the full 10 seconds, but it really only takes one. So with the massive increase in armor, we get much larger numbers in Iron Skin. In this build, however, I have low strength for the Rhino to increase his range. You could have higher numbers with less range and a well-timed charge, but it will be less consistent and it will only get high numbers if they are right next to each other, and will make his second augment far less effective. Iron Shrapnel allows you to cast off your Iron Skin as puncture damage equal to the remaining health of your Iron Skin. This will both kill enemies around you and allow you to refresh your Iron Skin so you can maintain having plenty. So this is the setup I have for this Rhino. Really, the weapons aren't super important for this basic setup. Use something you know you can kill bigger targets with, Tigris, Opticore, something with some kick, because you'll be able to clear the smaller adds with your abilities for far longer. The pistol I use is the Kit Gun Rattle Guts, built for status chance, plus I use the Kit Arcane Pox Bolt for the efficiency and strength buff. No reason not to use this because you'll get strength from killing the enemies with headshots, and it'll proc growing power because we have it built for status chance. What we already know is this: I use these two augments and growing power for the extra strength. But to achieve the size of the charge, you have to have a 235% range. Done a lot of testing with range. Any less and the killing stops being effective, and any more and you lose control of the Rhino and give up too much strength. So you need both stretch and overextended to achieve this. I know reducing strength on Rhino seems counterproductive, but it's literally the only way we get to achieve this properly. That being said, you throw on as much strength as possible to counteract this with the Power Drift, Transient Fortitude, Intensify, and Blind Rage. Like I mentioned earlier, this can be a fairly energy-hungry build. The flow is there to allow you to spam your abilities a little more often, as is the Arcane Energize. As you get more effective with when to activate your abilities, the flow will become less important. And once you master this guy, we can move on to this. The Blood Tank. How this guy operates is the same way as the Vanguard. Charge, shred skin, look at all the numbers, recast, flex on other rhinos. The difference between these two is one requires more setup, but for roughly 5 times the payoff. What makes this build work is a couple simple things. Ironclad Charge doesn't affect just your base armor, it acts on your modded armor, unlike mods like Steel Fiber, which only affect the base. So I've included health conversion in this build to up Rhino's modded armor significantly. Health Orbs grant 450 armor, stacking up to 3 times. Taking damage will consume a stack after 3 seconds. So the good news is that Rhino getting hit in his Iron Skin doesn't count as taking damage. The bad news is, without taking damage, you don't pick up Health Orbs on your own. I've solved this issue with my weapons. The Hema uses your health as ammo. Will heal you on headshots and drain a small percent of your health when reloading, depending on how much ammo you've used. This does not count as damage. It will not make your Health Orb conversion buff disappear. The Broken Scepter can summon Health Orbs from the bodies of slain enemies and Energy Orbs from the husks of downed mechanical enemies. So you drain your health through your Iron Skin while creating orbs you need to make this work. Murderate a few guys, switch to your Scepter, pull out those Health Orbs, reload your Hema, and voila, bonus armor. And now, well, from this point on, we already know how that works. So the difference here is I've given up my flow, making energy a problem. I wouldn't recommend this unless you have Arcane energized, lots of pads, or have already gotten used to when to activate your abilities to become more efficient at playing the build. You have to be a lot more tactful than just spam Happy Vanguard. So there you have it. This is how I make my Rhino, and you'd be hard pressed to make it any more powerful. Unless...
Rhino.
Synth Deconstruct. Enemies injured by the Sentinel have a 25% chance to drop a health orb when killed, so that eliminates your need for Broken Scepter. And Synth Fiber. This beautiful little gem has one effect it does not tell you. You can pick up health orbs without having taken any damage. Now I recommend using the Sentinel on the blood tank as well. It makes it so you don't have to use any weapons, but you have them in case your Sentinel dies. The actual mod build is mostly the same. I've removed the Energize for a second ultimatum, and Endurance Drift for the Power Drift because, well, power. You can no longer use your ultimate with this, unless you proc Pox Bolt first, but this build isn't meant to utilize the ult regularly anyways. And I've removed the Blood Scepter for the Skijati. The build itself is hard to maintain alone, and kind of unnecessary early on anyways, so I'm bringing Rumble Meets Resident Trinity along. I recommend everyone get a Trinity for a friend. 10 out of 10. The Nikana has a stance, Tranquil Cleave. Tranquil Cleave's Breathless Lunge ends with performing a finisher. This of course will proc our Arcane Ultimatum. Up next is 18 seconds of more Iron Skin than you'll probably ever need, for no reason. Drop some pads and have fun. Now there are other ways to further this buff with team comps of course. Frames such as Oberon that adds armor, or Equinox or Nidus will add strength. I hope you enjoyed these Rhinos, and maybe learned a thing or two you didn't know before about his capabilities, especially once you synergize his weapons to the build. And there are some modifications that can be made, like using a level 9 Blind Rage with Power Drift on the blood tank, or you can concentrate it down for less range and more strength, sacrificing offense for defense, but this is how I play it. If you'd like to see more, please let me know who you'd like to see in the comments. Like this video and obviously subscribe so you know when they're released. Thanks for watching, Tenno.